Hi, good afternoon. Welcome back to the Armenian Museum. Today I'd like to talk a little about this Armenian ceramics in Jerusalem, more specifically the votive eggs used in the churches. When you talk about the ceramics today, you usually think about the Armenian potters such as the Balian family and the other Armenian industries there, which go back about 120 years, but they're relatively recent. If you go to inside the churches themselves, you'll see examples of Armenian ceramics that are several hundred years old, from the Kuchaya industries. Originally, Armenians and Europeans believed that ostriches, this is an ostrich, only had one gender. And so an ostrich egg was virgin birth because it only had one gender, which is kind of funny because ostriches, you can really tell them males. It's very obvious among them. But anyway, so what they began doing was, since it was a symbol of virgin birth, you buy an ostrich egg imported from Africa and you give it to the church as a symbol of the Virgin Mary. And originally they used to import these, including Armenians. It was very expensive. Then somebody got the bright idea, well, why don't we just make our own? So they began making ostrich eggs out of ceramics. This is an example right here, a very early one. This is about 15th century. And so they began making these ceramic eggs instead. And they said, well, everybody knows they're ceramics now. We're not fooling anybody. Why don't we decorate them? So they began decorating the eggs. This is an example of an egg right here. And this symbol is an angel, a seraphim on the egg. This would have been for the general market because angels are a common theme among Jews, Muslims, and Christians. They all use angels in their iconography. So this could be used in a church, a temple, or a mosque. But then they also they made eggs that were very specifically Christian. They would add a cross to it in order to show that it was a Christian. And these were made, of course, by the Armenians of Kuchaya. And these eggs had a practical function. I mean, they're decorative, of course. You hang them and they're very pretty to look at. But they also had a very practical function, too. The oil in the lamps of the churches was animal or vegetable oil, not petroleum. This is before the petroleum industry, which means the oil was edible. Mice could climb down the rope, get to the lamp, drink the oil, and your lights go out. You got to climb a ladder and re-pour it in order to keep filling the lamp because of the mice in the church. And so, but they would begin putting with these eggs, hanging them down on the ropes, or the chains. You can see the chains here. And so if a mouse tries to climb down the chain to get to the lamp, when he gets to the egg, he tries to climb past it, and he slips and he falls. You get a problem with falling mice, but then you can live with that. But it saved them. The lamps extended the life of the lamps that way. So it was a labor-saving device by putting these eggs on there. So they're both decorative and functional. And that is very typical of a lot of Armenian art. The idea of art for its own right, where you just something pretty you hang on the wall, but has no real function per se. That's basically the Renaissance in Europe. And so it started in Europe at about the 15th century. But that really didn't come into Armenia until the late 18th, early 19th century, when they began making art for its own sake. Most of the art is like this. It has very definite functions to it. Some other time we'll talk about the other ceramics, but that's the news right now. Thank you very much.